Good afternoon, everyone. So I'm here.
Good afternoon, Miss. All right.
Good afternoon.
Going to begin at 2:10.
Okay, then. I have a PowerPoint presentation, so let me see if I'm okay. Good, I'm co-host. I can share. All right,
All
thank
right.
you.
No problem. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first town hall of the FHE Guild Committee. It's my pleasure to begin this initiative. I want to welcome everybody on Zoom and in YouTube. So thank you for joining us today as we start a series of town halls because the Guild Committee saw it fitting to start these town hall meetings because even though we cannot meet physically, or you can come to us with your concerns in a hastily way, we want us to have a medium like this where we can come together and talk about all the problems that we're having with school, with administration, registering, every problem that you have, you can talk to us so we can find the best possible solution to rectify it. As such, we want to thank the Mr. Dr. Nicole Plummer for coming on, Sasha Williams for coming with us today, and all the executives for taking the time out to join us today. And with no further ado, we promise not to have a long session because we know you're busy. So with no further ado, we're going to have the first speaker, Mr. Sher Williams, who was the former CSS president, and Miss Kellyanne will be doing the introduction. Kellyanne?
Hi, good afternoon.
Hi.
My name is Kellen Wright, works as a Fort Hall student representative for the Humanities. So, Karamak is not an easy place. The Humanities, though vibrant, is not an easy place either. When I came, I didn't know where to start or even what to do. I was literally over UWI in my first year. I remember stopping by CSS one day. I was stressed out and I had a bad mindset going in, like, another boring club. But something struck out to me, the president's dedication in making the club better. So, because, enough, of course, I introduced myself, which is why it gives me great pleasure to introduce Miss Williams, one of the key persons who helped me wade your waters. I have seen her firsthand being helpful, charismatic, committed, stressed, and still striving. So I am happy to see her now, a journalist at the Jamaica Observer. She's, she also has her own blog. She does freelance journalism work for award-winning journalist Kalia Reynolds, and she's a past student of the Wolmer's High School for Girls. But alongside her achievements, what I admire about Miss Williams is she's a student who simply didn't pass through the humanities. She was an advocate for change. She was involved, she was driven to help others, and frankly, I can only count a handful of people who help others while they need help themselves. A love for the humanities students is something she would advise us all to have. So today, before we talk about everything, let me introduce the woman of the hour to tell you about her experience. Please join me in welcoming Miss Shell Williams.
Hi guys. Thank you for that very, very lovely introduction. Made me blush. So I'm here to talk to you guys a little bit about my experience at UWI and what it's been like in the year since I've left. Right. So I graduated from the University of the West Indies in 2019. And my 3 years there as a humanities student and as a CARMAC student were very interesting. So when I applied to CARMAC, I had a very clear idea of what I wanted to do. I was gonna go, I was gonna get my degree in journalism, and I was gonna work in broadcast. That was it. And as you guys heard, I now work for a newspaper, but we'll get to that story. So I always kind of knew what I wanted to do. And walking into UWI on the first day, I was thrown completely, not completely off course, but it definitely wasn't what I was expecting. You know, coming from a strict all-girls school into now, a place where there aren't so many rules and you're responsible for yourself. It was a big adjustment for me. It honestly was a big adjustment. So what was it like for me being a humanities student? Well, a lot of people underestimate how hard the humanities can be because it's not econ, it's not um sciences. So people think that okay, it's just a walk in the park, especially when you're a Karamak student. The thing that I heard so much a lot was you guys always look like you're having fun. We do have a lot of fun over by Karamak, but it's a lot of hard work. You know, they always saw us with our cameras and, interviewing people and taking photos and stuff like that. And there were times when it was fun, but it was really hard. So that's one thing that I know you guys will encounter. You will encounter hardships. School is hard. The university is hard. For instance, for me, I was used to getting good grades in high school. I was used to always, not always, but I was used to getting awards for my grades. As opposed to coming into the University of the West Indies and meeting up on crit, where I just, it seemed like no matter how hard I try, crit was always one step ahead of me. But that's a part of life. It's a part of um, the reason why we go to school. And if there is something that I would encourage you guys to do is you might, I'm not sure of the year groups that are here, but for the freshers that are going in, you will have to readjust how you view hard work. The mentality that I had coming from high school was that hard work was studying for a couple of hours, for a couple of days and going and getting the grade. In university, especially in the humanities, you will have to readjust how you view hard work. And you're just going to have to try harder. You're going to have to learn how to do things. And you're going to have to learn how to be accountable, how to hold yourself accountable. Because like I said, coming into now an environment where there aren't teachers running you down, asking you, why you're not in class, why you missed tutorial, you aren't going to have that. You're going to have to hold yourself accountable and know that, listen, I have to go to class. And I suggest you all go to class. I know my experience to the one that you guys are going to have is going to be massively different because of COVID-19, but you still have to go to classes. You still have to go to tutorials. Tutorials is because they're smaller. That's where you go and you have time to understand. You get more one-on-one contact. So that's what I would say. You're gonna have to learn how to hold yourself accountable. You're also gonna need to find a tribe. You will not survive humanities. No matter what program you're doing, you will not survive the humanities without a group of people who can hold you accountable, who will listen to you and who will encourage you, and that you can do the same for. You're gonna need a group of friends who are like-minded, who are just as determined, who are just as motivated as you are. There's no other way to survive the humanities. I am telling you, I'm not trying to be dramatic, but it's the truth. Like, you need a group of people who can say, listen, we need to get this done. And don't underestimate your ability to procrastinate. Like, a lot of people think that, they say, all right, I'm just going to take a 10-minute break, and I'm going to come back, I promise. And before you know it, it's 2 hours later, 3 hours later, 5 hours later, and the essay is still there, needs to be written. There's an 11 o'clock deadline. You haven't started, and it's 6 o'clock. You don't want to put yourself under that pressure. And I would assume, I'm going to venture to say that you guys are going to have harsher deadlines now because of the whole pandemic. Teachers are going to expect that since you're home, you don't have anything else to do, you can't go anywhere, the work needs to be submitted on time. So don't underestimate your own ability to procrastinate, and don't underestimate the value of having people to hold you accountable and the value of holding yourself accountable. So what's it been like since I left? I left in 2019. I graduated in 2019. I went away on work and travel over the summer. So all of my friends would have had a head start in applying for jobs before I did, because I was gone for the whole summer, so maybe 3 or 4 months. And when I came back, I was given the opportunity to interview for a job at the Jamaica Observer, and that's where I've been since this year. Since for this whole year, tomorrow will be 1 year since I've started working there. And as I said before, as I said earlier, I had gone into UWI knowing what I wanted to do. I wanted to come out of school and I wanted to work in broadcast. And now I work in print. One of the harshest realities that people leaving school will have to face, or you will face when you leave school, is that you might not end up in the job that you want. You might not end up in the field that you want, in the career path that you chose or that you have your degree in. But there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody has to start somewhere. So even if you leave school and you're not in the highest paying job, you're not even in a job that makes you happy or something like that, it doesn't matter, because you're it's a start, and no experience is a wasted experience. Even if you don't learn anything about the career path that you wish to pursue in the future, in the job that you're at, if you don't learn anything about what you want to be in the future, you will learn about people and you will learn about yourself. So if you leave and you have a degree in languages and you end up working at a bank, okay, working at a bank doesn't necessarily teach you anything about, or doesn't make you utilize some of the skills that you learned in languages or in history or archaeology, any of the humanities courses. You don't get to use the information that you learned in school. You will learn about people. You will learn what you like and what you don't like. You will learn about working environments that you want to be a part of, the type of leader that you want to be. You'll learn about yourself and you'll learn about the world of work. So yeah. Martin also asked me to talk to you guys about some of the things that I did while I was still in school. So, I heard in the introduction, Miss Wright was talking about CSS. Now, I got into CSS solely for the purpose of finding my tribe. I wanted to meet more people who could help me. So CSS stands for Carmack Student Society. I wanted to go in there to be around people who could help me. And I joined in my first year. In my second year, I became deputy PRO. And then in the third year, I was president. Now, I would suggest, I know it's going to be different in this virtual form, but I would suggest you guys finding a club, finding some way to interact with people who you don't know or people who you've never met before. You can't underestimate, again, the value of meeting people, making connections. Some of these connections that you make in university will help you after school in finding a career path, even if it's not in the field that you would choose. But making connections, it's important. Networking, you always hear people talk about networking. Building your network as early as possible is a good thing. You will meet people, people will meet you, you never know who you will become, and you can help someone. And my motto is, school is hard enough already. Like, if you can help somebody, help them. So all of my CSS or all of my Carmack younger ones know that they can message me. As long as I have the time, as long as I'm free, I will help them with school, because someone helped me. And even after receiving the help, I still struggled. I still struggled with a lot of courses in Karamak, and I still wish I could have done better. So if I can use the knowledge that I have plus what someone else gave me to teach someone else, why not? School is hard enough already. We don't have to be selfish with information, because everybody have a space in the world. So if you help someone, it's not taking anything away from you, but it's adding to someone else who can then add to someone else, and that's the way we get better as a group. So that's all I have to say. I don't know if there's a question and answer section, but that's all I have to say. I hope you guys, I know that this year, this season of life is gonna be much different. The COVID-19 pandemic is something that we have never experienced before. The the environment of teaching and learning is gonna be vastly different. And I encourage you guys to take care of your mental health. Trust me, when I was going to UWI on the physical campus, I was stressed, had many breakdowns, I cannot imagine the pressure of now, even though we're at home, the pressure of trying to figure out how to work school online and the added pressures of just being in a pandemic, 8 o'clock curfew, all of that. So I encourage you guys to make sure that you're taking care of your mental health. Don't feel like it's just a cliche. No, everything is about mental health. Everything really is about mental health. It really is, because if you are stressed to the point that you can't concentrate, there's no point in studying for the exam. If you're feeling so overwhelmed that you don't know, you're putting 1 + 1 together and getting 3, there's 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 nothing to cure that but taking care of yourself. So that's all I have to say. Thank you guys so much for listening to me.
Hey, thank you, Sasha, for coming on and talking to us. I know some persons on the YouTube or in the Zoom chat, they might have questions. So, guys, you can go ahead and ask your questions to Sasha. Many of you probably interested in print media. You're probably interested in navigating university life and how you can take care of your mental health while traversing university. So you can ask the questions on the YouTube chat or on Zoom, and I'll ask Sasha right away. All right, so someone is asking, via online school, how can you protect your mental health while doing school online?
Right. So while doing, my biggest thing would be to have a place to try and separate the two. Everything is at home now, so it's kind of like going to school at home, but have a space in your home where you dedicate to school. So whether it be around your dining room table, a small section of your bedroom, dedicate that space to school, so that when you step away from that space, you're back at home. You can relax. You separate it. Also, I would suggest, it sounds kind of trivial, but it's something that I do, is on your laptop or your tablet or whatever, create like 2 separate tabs. So if you have Google open and you have Orville on there, or Google Classroom or whatever you guys are using, that's on one browser, and then you have your separate browser where you go and you have your Netflix or you have your YouTube or something like that. So anything to separate school from home and school from relaxation.
Oh, next question. Someone, Daniel Alidis is asking, how was the transition from Karamat into the world of work?
Well, Daniel, it was rough. it was um it was it was different. When we're in school, everything is kind of a lot of theory. It's in a classroom. You have classes from 9 to 12, and then you go eat lunch, and then you come back and you have class from 3 to 6. You get into a routine. Over 3 years, you get into a routine, and breaking off and instantly becoming an adult is one of the hardest transitions you'll have to make. Going from school, waking up, having lunch money, the routines that we develop going through the years of school, dropping most of them and going into the world of work is a harsh, is a steep drop off. At least it was for me, because I know some people work while going to school. So people who have those different types of experiences, it might not be as difficult for them. But for me, that was in school full time, waking up at a certain hour to go to school, it can be harsh, but it was most definitely rewarding. One of the biggest work starting to earn things for myself or earn money for myself, it gave me a sense of freedom that I didn't know I was missing, and it made me feel more independent and more bold. So the transition can be rough. But the ultimate reward to me is satisfying.
That's nice. And last question, because we're kind of short for time. How do you manage time at home?
Um, my job is very time oriented. So, how do I manage time? Honestly, I could be managing it a lot better. I do a lot of things. I have my main job. I do like work on the side, and then I have things that I have my blog that I do for myself. So it's a lot of things that I'm juggling. Um, I find time, I make time for anything that's important to you will make time. So I know that my job is from 9 to 5. I try to get up at 7:30 so it doesn't feel like I spend my whole day at work. I get up early, do what I have to do in the morning, then prepare myself for work, and just do it. I try to make time for each thing and give myself time, enough time in between to relax, if that answers that question.
Yes, thank you so much. And I just before we thank Sashel once
Um,
again. Before we go on to the next speaker, I want to remind everybody that there's a Health is Wealth seminar. If you need help mentally, you can reach out to the UA Health Center and also participate in our breast cancer initiative. All proceeds will go to the Jamaica Cancer Society. Now we're going to have Miss Nicole Plummer who will be coming to us now to share with us a presentation. I want to say that Miss Plummer, Dr. Plummer, is a awesome lecturer. She taught me more than culture. She taught me life lessons, and I'm sure she'll impart that knowledge to you guys right now. Miss Plummer.
All right. Good evening, everyone. I'm hoping you're able to see my PowerPoint presentation. Those of you who have taught already know that typically I love to have very, very pretty slides. Now, my presentation for some of you might be what you call new. Some others might say, all right, I already do this, so it's no big deal. I know this already. If you know it already, kudos to you. If you do not, then that is fine. So my presentation today is entitled Making the Most of Online Learning. And I take you through steps because we can't be focused so much on you learning without the recognition that you're learning in a COVID space, and this space is just not normal. And we also have to acknowledge that you are not exactly, you didn't choose online learning. This isn't a case where you went ahead and you registered for an open campus or an open experience. You registered for face to face, and some of you, you're along the line of you're adaptive, gregarious, you are extroverted, so you like company, you appreciate company, you like having people around you. So this is a time and a space and an experience like none other really, because you can't really count the 1918 flu. The technology, the experiences, the expectations, they were quite different. So the fact is this, COVID-19 is disruptive. And I just title this Outbreak. It is disruptive in every single way, shape. It is emotionally disruptive, it is mentally disruptive, it is physically disruptive. Some of you who would normally go for jogs or you have your workout group, suddenly that it's just not possible anymore. So it is disruptive. But with everything that is disruptive, disruption comes with what we would call challenges, and disruptions come with opportunities. Now, I've highlighted the challenges. The fact is that I mean, I certainly am, we're practicing social distancing. For some individuals, the only way they could have gotten SS done or done any kind of studying was to basically go to the main library. And in the main library, they would camp out for however long they need. Um, for myself, I had, my daughter in nursery. So anybody that I teach now, I just have to tell them. I have to be teaching, I have to be doing everything around my daughter. And for those of you who are studying parents, I'm sure that you can relate. You are expected to be producing work, be attending school, and you also have to have your child there at home, because who wants to take the risk right now and put them anywhere but home, or at least with one person if you can find it? Because in my case and my hobby's case, we don't have grandparents, we don't have anything like that. So we are literally, I mean, we're lucky we're not single parents, but we just have to support each other. So these are the challenges, and there are other challenges. We live in a framework in this country where our technological framework is unstable, to say the least. Electricity goes frequently, the internet goes frequently. Internet, even, I purchased bigger bandwidth the other day, and I don't see where, it's that different from what it was before. So we're not the best when it comes on to information technology. The other thing, of course, is that, there are challenges when it comes on to just how do you get from one place to the next? You have to take public transport with taximen that don't wear masks, or, passengers that don't wear masks. The challenges are innumerable. There's the financial challenge. For some of you, your parents have lost jobs. You have lost your part-time jobs. You have lost your full-time jobs. But with everything that is where there are challenges, there are also opportunities. And one of the best things that we've done in the Faculty of Humanities and Education is that we've tried to locate those opportunities where they might be found. I don't know if you've been following, but we have the Humanities in Action series that is on UWI Mona Media. Normally we would have lectures and sessions and we'd hold them in N1 and just a few people come. But we were able to have this session, host it on YouTube, and it drew eyes, and we're able to reach the public in a way that we were never able to do before. Some individuals might find that they have even greater access to their lectures than before, an access that did not exist previously. Some individuals might find that in this time of challenge, it's good to not have to leave the house because you don't have to find bus fare. There are many other opportunities. I noticed that some people even some of my students have started at-home businesses. One of my students has started an online cookie company. So she bakes because baking is her emotional outlet, and she sells. I notice other individuals are doing catering because while you're home, people like me, it's just because I can't take advantage because I live very far. But if somebody in my community started some kind of catering thing, I'm buying, because it means I don't have to be, thinking about what I'm going to cook each day. So sometimes you have to think laterally and find the opportunities. What are the things that people need? People might need more childcare, and so if there is anybody in your community and you are practicing social distancing, this could be something you do on the side. So COVID-19 presented challenges, but COVID-19 also presents opportunities. And for those of you who are very, very smart and very, very slick and very, very hardworking, you can find those opportunities. But let's address a big, giant, ginormous, humongous elephants in the room. And I'm not talking about a pygmy elephant. I am talking about a massive elephant, a mammoth. Like those ginormous woolly mammoths that lived during the Ice Age. That's the elephant in the room, the mental health. The fact is that, and I highlighted or hinted at it before, they speak of, I remember when COVID just broke out and everybody had to quarantine at home and the economy closed down, there were people who said, I am an introvert, this is like nothing. But then I like to see even the introverts say that, there's nobody to say no to. There's just so much indoors and isolating that you can do before you start to feel disconnected. In fact, there are times in which even me, I'm like, what day is today? Because getting up, going out, all of that, it helps you to keep a regular schedule, right? There is, and I told you before about people losing jobs, unemployment. That can breed into depression and anxiety. Just recently, I've read in the newspaper where several young children, 8 years old, they committed suicide. When you're isolated, your suicidal tendencies increase. And not just children, but adults. Some of your lecturers, you don't even know what they're going through mentally. mental health struggles, the depression, the isolation, the anxiety, because you don't know what tomorrow will bring. People who are bipolar, they're probably spiraling right now, right? And then you're bipolar or you're depressive, but you can't afford your medication because you have no employment or your source of funds is drying up. COVID-19 has exacerbated any kind of mental health condition that people have. And even for those of you who don't have mental health problems, here are some other ways in which COVID-19 can affect you, all of which will affect your performance as students. The fact of the matter is that you have a big elephant. That elephant is COVID, and you're not sure. You want to go back to normal. You want to live in the manner that you were used to living before COVID-19 broke out. You want to be able to go to the movies. I mean, I want to go to the beach. I want to go to eat fish. I had huge plans that my family and I would try and, tour Jamaica, visit places, do more things, because we were very much all about work, and then suddenly COVID broke out, and it's like, I'm afraid to leave my house. I'm even afraid to socialize online because, I don't want to die because we don't know how COVID will affect us. So COVID, it is to contend with that constantly, even if you don't have any overarching mental health issues. It creates kind of like a fog between yourself and the world. How do you operate? How do you live healthily? How do you function? And these are things that are very important. So it affects you because you are thinking of the long term. When will it end? How can I make plans? So you find yourself unable to focus, unable to concentrate. You have something there that you should be doing. Even you're supposed to be watching your Netflix show and you can't even, focus or concentrate on that show. These things are real. These challenges are real. So even if before we go into the realm of your schoolwork, you are unable to focus, you are unable to concentrate. That is real. The other thing, of course, is just being scatterbrained or, just acting scatterbrained. It's because no matter what you do, every time you leave your house, you have, I don't know about you, I have a bag, and I should show you that bag. It's a Ziploc bag with a mini Lysol spray, hand sanitizer, spray alcohol, wet antibacterial, 2 antibacterial wet wipe, paper towels so that I can open doors and so, because I don't want to use gloves and then get comfortable with the gloves. It's an entire job to just leave my house. And then it's an entire job to remember, clean the doorknobs in general, right? Make sure you keep your mask washed, or make sure you dispose the mask, or you put them this way. Life is different. And so just trying to get over am I washing my hands? Am I doing the scrubbing of my nails? Am I doing everything I'm supposed to do? That surviving COVID is a full-time job. And then you're going to put in just life in general and then school. So you're going to feel scatterbrained. I feel scatterbrained quite often, sometimes just trying to remember all the things that I have to do. And those of you who know me, I am the queen of long to-do lists. And even my to-do lists have lists these days. I have a list of lists. And list of lists. And even then, I'm not functioning optimally. In fact, some of my colleagues, your lecturers, they're not functioning optimally at all. None of us are. The other thing that will happen too is that you might find yourself, you start to hyperventilate. Panic attack is settling in. How do you deal with these kinds of things? Because that is real. And then when you add work to it and trying to work, the panic attacks can happen, especially when you're feeling extremely overwhelmed. And then don't forget about being demotivated. You're hearing so much bad news. The economy has declined by, the US economy has declined, this has declined, there are no jobs, there's no this. So why are you even bothering? Why bother get out of bed anyway? So the demotivation that you feel is real. And because your mind, your subconscious mind is doing so much, and because it is taking so much more effort to do the things that you have to do on a regular basis, you are going to find that you're more exhausted than before. I don't know about you, but sometimes I'm the way I'm exhausted, it's not normal. But my hubby will look at me and say, yeah, that's because you get up at 5 o'clock and try to go to bed at midnight and then try to get up at 5 o'clock the next day. And you're constantly working and you think you're a robot, but you're not a robot. So you're starting to basically, your body letting you know it's about to collapse. Yeah, you have that kind of exhaustion. But there is exhaustion that comes from basically being in a situation whereby even on days when you take off, you still feel tired because COVID isn't normal. Thinking about how you're going to survive isn't normal. The other thing, of course, is a reduction in creativity. There are many creatives right now who are just feeling spent. You feel like you're not doing your best work. Now, when you write essays and you do anything, you make presentations, it's all tapping into the creative realm. So you're tapping into the creative realm, and when you tap into the creative realm, there's like nothing there. The creativity, and this is particularly key for students who are strong performers. For some of you, you're used to the A's, you're used to doing well, you're used to, okay, I have an essay, and just tap in and you start it. But when you're trying to start it, nothing is coming. And that can that creates a loop. So you start to feel like, oh my God, panic start to come in. The deadline's winding down, nothing is coming into your head. And the panic comes in again. And it's just a cycle and it goes around and around and around. So these are common challenges that you're going to have to studying, to concentrating. So how can we survive this? I'm just going to tell you one or two of the things that I recommend, and I'm sure you have others. The first thing I started doing, especially for me, when I, was to start limit my intake of news. I find you need to know enough, but you don't need to know too much, because when you need to concentrate and do your work, constantly being reminded of everything negative, who breaking quarantine, who not, social distancing, how many parties the police has to lock off, how many people, it just you can't. You just need to do what you need to do and practice what you need to practice. So you do your social distancing, you limit your contact with people, you quarantine if you feel like you've been in touch with anybody with COVID. You do what you need to do, but limit the intake. Just know every couple of days you check on how many people are affected and which parish, just to keep informed. The other thing, of course, is social media. I know that we live on this social media. We like to trawl it. I use the word trawling, like when you have the big fishing net and you grab things. That's how we grab information. But it's not always a good thing. Not these days. One of the things I stopped doing was that when I would note, like the Gleaner or the Observer or even the Star would post articles on COVID or quarantine. Underneath those articles would be comments from from conspiracy theorists. COVID not real. I'm just trying to scare people. COVID is end of days. They want you to get the vaccine so that you can, have, which is the mark of the beast. And there were so many comments that were ignorant. And I don't know how many of you know this. My original training was in history. So I know that every time vaccines like smallpox, polio, measles, all these vaccines that have made a positive impact on our lives have emerged, there have been people who have basically said that these vaccines were basically ways of people maintaining control. But the ignorance, it was the ignorance that got to me, and I found myself just, oh my God, I can't deal with this. I just can't, because it seemed discouraging. Like, if so many people are so ignorant, how long is COVID going to be with us? And that was what I found myself thinking. So I just said, all right, you know what? I just read the Gleaner app when I have to get information. I'm not going to be trawling social media. I don't need to know what people feel about things anymore. The other thing, of course, is that you have to be mindful, right? You have to be mindful of the company that you keep. You have to be mindful of the people around you. I see this to say that you can't be around people who are going to discourage you from your goals. You can't be around people who are negative all the time. You can't be around people who are toxic. At this moment in time, when you are fragile, you need to have strength around you, not people who are going to break you down further, right? So those are some of the things that you have to think about. Now, when you're thinking about surviving this, you have to, and this is just, I'm not taking my advice very much, but I'm going to encourage you. Incidentally, going back to being mindful of your company, be mindful of even the people in your class. There are some people who are in your classes and they're not there to elucidate or to provide additional knowledge. They're there to criticize, to comment on, and criticism basically can be a worm that feeds into your mind. I've noted that there are a lot of different WhatsApp groups, WhatsApp groups for your program, WhatsApp groups for your classes, and WhatsApp groups are very, very useful. It's useful to get information instantaneously. It's useful to feel a sense of connection to your course. But if WhatsApp groups become toxic, remove yourself from them, right? Now, the other thing, of course, is that in order to survive, don't just set schedules to study, set schedules that include breaks, right? So breaks to exercise. Exercise is very important because what it does is that it increases the positive hormones, right? So if you ever find that after you exercise, you feel this uplifted, you feel energy. So that is serotonin and other positive hormones. Another thing that you should also do is take water breaks. You'll be trying to know how, when you are dehydrated, and let me do that too, see? When you're dehydrated, it can affect the balance of your mind, because of course your mind is connected to what is going on physically in your body. So water breaks are important. You have to keep connection with the people that you love. So one of the things that I'm going to recommend that you do is that you catch up with your friends, try and do this, get some fresh air. Sometimes just walking to the parking lot or walking to your garden or just walking outside and coming back and just inhaling some fresh air is good. Plus, I've heard that vitamin D, from the sun is really good. Catch a TV show or a movie. Sometimes you just need to move away from all the reading and everything that you're doing and just go and watch a movie. Journaling is good. Poetry writing. Just having a creative outlet. Frankly, just participate in any activity that is restorative. Some of my students said baking, they find baking restorative. Another student said that she found, she started to, just have plants around her house. So she went ahead and watering the plants and focusing on their growth helped her. Some went ahead and got pets. So anything that you need, participate in anything that is positive and restorative. The other thing I call hack your brain. If it is that you need to feel that you're doing something or going somewhere to function, then go ahead, get up in the morning, eat breakfast, pray, or whatever it is that you do in the morning, shower, dress, and when you go to class, another thing I would suggest is go to your classes, and if your bandwidth allows it, turn on your camera if you can, or ask your lecturer if you can turn on your camera, because you want to create a sense of normalcy, right? That sense of normalcy is so important, and several of my colleagues have to do this to function, because I remember one of my graduate students, he's a teacher, and it was hard for him because I tend to teach without the camera on because I have a daughter and she's, but nowadays I recognize that a few of my students might, okay, as soon as I talk about my daughter, give me a second. She's up from her nap. So yeah, I'm just pointing her in the direction. Yeah, she's up. So what you find is that when you turn your camera on, it helps. And what he does is that he turns his camera on because for him to function, he needs to have his camera on and feel like he's in a face-to-face setting. So that's how he hacks his brain. And you can hack your brain that way. And along this line, I'm going to say that your lecturers are suffering as well. It's not just you. Many lecturers need face-to-face contact, especially the older ones, in order to adjust and to learn. And as a result, if it is that they ask you to do something that you might find, okay, why is this lecturer asking me to do this and others don't ask me? It's because that's the way that's what they need to do in order to deliver, right? Remember, this situation affects all of us. So what I want to just put here now is that for those of you who are high achievers, do not be too hard on yourself, please. You notice I have it there, do not be hard on yourself. Do not. You're not going to be able to function at the level of which you're used to function. I'm telling you from my own experience, there are things that I would normally be able to do. And sometimes I just find myself, sometimes there are small errors that I make, even on emails that I send that in the past I never made before. Sometimes I find myself scrambling at the last minute to do things when I never did that before. So these are things that, and I was hard on myself at first because I was trying to function and act in a way that I did before COVID broke out. But then I realized it's ridiculous. My life is not normal, so I can't be normal. But at the same time, we can't be too hard on others either. We all are functioning in a way that is different. It is just, people will make mistakes that they didn't before. So don't come down too hard on your friends. Don't come down too hard on your parents. Please. Everyone is on edge. The other day I had some, there are emails that I would send, and I have to be looking at those emails because everybody's on edge. So we have to watch our tone. We have to be more mindful because we don't want to make somebody's day worse without intending to make it worse. So be patient, be understanding, be forgiving with each other. Your parents will be on edge if there's something you can do to make them happier, or not just your parents, but your guardians or your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your sister, your brother. Everybody's just suffering in their own ways. And the authority figures are. When I speak with people at UWI, one of the things that comes in that they've never been so busy or so overwhelmed or so tired in their lives. And as I gave you an example of my life, I'll get up at 5 and sometimes not be in bed until midnight. So that is not okay. Now, just to access, I have the counseling information for UWI counseling here. And if you're feeling, if none of these things help and you really need to speak with someone, I've provided counseling services and information. So please take a picture of it, note it, reach out to them if you have need for anything or you're having suicidal thoughts, please. So now to the meat of the purpose of why I am here presenting, right? How do you study online? So studying online during COVID, with everything that I've just said, it looks almost impossible. It looks like, what are we asking you to do? We're giving you a bucket to go and carry water, right? This makes no sense. The first thing that you have to do is that you have to find your purpose. Why are you studying? No, some of you will say, I'm studying because my mother is forcing me to study, or my father is forcing me to study, or I'm paying for this. Yeah, that is motivating enough. But sometimes studying, right, provides you with well needed distraction, right? It gives you an outlet. So when you're feeling, when I was younger and an undergrad student, when I wrote essays, it was a way of releasing energy, releasing anything, just get involved in my work. When I got involved in my work, nothing mattered. I love knowledge, right? And a degree means more knowledge, anything to bring knowledge in. It was about self growth as well as, of course, getting that piece of paper. So find a purpose for studying. And if your purpose is merely just because they're sending you to school, no. You're studying to improve yourself, you're studying to improve your mind, you're studying because everything. I did history, and where I am, my first job was in a bank. And best believe, I use every aspect. This was in the United States. I was in one of the best persons in the bank. Why? Because I know about people, I know about I know how to analyze situations, I know how to read them, I know how to read people, I know what patterns to look out for. That was history. So when you're studying, think about just acquiring that knowledge and how you can put that knowledge to use. So find your purpose. That purpose could also be to ensure that when the economy, because again, going back to history, life ebbs and life flows. That is life. Ebbs and flows, right? So when life ebbs and flows, right now we're in the down, right? But things are going to look up eventually. You want to ensure that when it looks up, you have your piece of paper in your hand. I'm going to suggest too, and that if you have somebody who also has a strong purpose and they're focused and they're disciplined, that you make friends with them. You want somebody in your circle so you both can mentor each other and help to keep each other on track, right? That's one of the best things that you can do. So you keep on track, they keep on track. So find a peer mentor. Now, one of the greatest challenges with online learning is that it's self-directed learning, right? Self-directed means that a lot of things like motivation, etc., have to come from internal, right? Nobody is going to necessarily hold your hand through the through the process. What this means that, and frankly, university education is pretty much also self-directed. Any kind of university education. I heard Sashel talk, and she noted that nobody's holding your hand through the process. Now, I do a lot of hand holding, but the fact of the matter is that it's not, we can't be holding your hand so closely and then let it go when you're to graduate and start working. There has to be some distance so that when you're ready for the working world, you're ready for the harshness of the working world. So you have to read your course guides, read your course assessments, note the course expectations, note the assignments, note the due dates. This is really important because this tells you what you need to do and what you should accomplish by the time it has ended. One of the most important things that you can do is to make note of the due dates for assignments. So when an assignment is due, just record the dates. Just put them in your phone. I mean, I don't know if you can see, but my phone is just filled with dates, right? That is good practice. Now, when you are doing the dates, you can move on now and do a list of the assignments by dates. So this list of the assignments can be written or it can be typed. But you are going to do a list, and then you do each assignment in turn. And this worked for me as an undergrad student. I was able to do my assignments, especially in second year, 2-3 weeks, even a month in advance, and put them down because I was constantly reading, constantly working. In third year, I wasn't able to do that. I was involved in lots of different activities and I was doing all research linked courses. The research-based courses mean more work. So I was closer to the deadlines that I would like to be, but I gave myself enough time to do the assignments and edit and so on. Now, the other thing, of course, is that look at the course topics and the reading material and work out a schedule that works for you. But when you work out the schedule, we don't all learn the same. Again, going back to some of you in my classes, you'll realize that I use a lot of audio visual. I do reading. I give you learning activities. That's because we have visual learners, we have oral learners, so people who learn by hearing. We have read it, write it learners. So some of you have to read, highlight, and make notes. And we have kinesthetic learners. Kinesthetic learners learn by doing. So I'm going to challenge you after my presentation is finished. Look up if you have never done this before, look up the VARC questionnaire, right? I have the website right here. Take the questionnaire, and at the end of it, look at your results. It will tell you what kind of learner you are. If you're a visual learner, that means when you take notes, start drawing the things, putting them into drawings. So when you're listening, draw the things visually, so that because that is how you learn. A visual learner also learns from documentaries. I find YouTube is just wonderful. So you can actually go and look for, cartoons or so on that help you to learn. If you're an oral learner, then you're going to love the fact that we have recordings of lectures. If you're a read it, write it learner, it means that even if you attend classes, when you are a read it, write it learner, you have to make notes in your notebook. That's me. So if I decide to study right now and it's online, even if I am online doing and I see the PowerPoint presentation, it doesn't matter. I have to listen and I have to write it. And that is how I remember. A kinesthetic learner, and that's why for my lectures, I have learning activities. A kinesthetic learner learns by doing things. All right, so these are the different ways in which you can learn. So figure out the way that you learn. When you figure out how you learn, then when you're doing your study schedule, you will put in the study schedule, whether it is videos that you need to watch, whether it is recordings that you need to listen to, but you are going to go ahead and do that because these are the things that you need to do in order to learn, right? Find the most sustainable way to keep posted. Whatever you do not walk away from your course or your subject and attempt to return to it. I find that when you're online and you're not constantly attending classes and you're not constantly involved in your classes, what will happen is that you lose track and it's like you're no longer engaged mentally with it. So even if it's all you do is sign in and download and read the slides every week, ensure that you give each course some time, because if you don't do that, it's not just about you'll feel mentally disconnected. Now, another thing, of course, and this is reliable internet, but Lord, we live in a country that's like impossible. So it's not a reality. So let's look at what the things you can do. If you can afford it, I increased my bandwidth, but I don't see where it helped because hubby had a class and couldn't even access BBC. So the other backup is that I have a data plan. And sometimes when Flow decides it's going to act up, I have my digital data plan and it allows tethering. Tethering is not ideal because it's kind of low, but I still have some amount of Wi-Fi space where I can continue my classes. Not upload things, but certainly continue them. The other thing you can do is invest in an Ethernet cable. Ethernet cables are more stable than Wi-Fi. The other thing I would also recommend, and I saw it last year where deadlines, portals closed during exam, portal closed when assignments were to be uploaded. Don't wait until the last minute to do the assignment, especially online, because if you don't have any internet, if you don't have any electricity, then you can't upload your assignment. So try not to wait until the last minute. Now for tutorial presentations, a good practice or a good idea, if possible, see if you can record it on your phone. Pre-record your presentations, right? And share the pre-recording with your tutors. So if you're not able to attend because of electricity or Wi-Fi issues, at least you're able to play that presentation. And it's also proof that you've been working. The other thing, of course, is download what you can so that you can review whatever it is you need to review offline. I heard Sasha note this, to find a dedicated study space. But I recognize how difficult that can be because some of us, we share space with multiple families, multiple family relatives. I would say even if it's just a closet or a part of the veranda, or if your Wi-Fi can stretch into outside, find even if a little nook that is yours, right? And the nook might change from time to time, but that study space is important. Another thing, and I call it number 5, is to communicate. Please communicate. Your classmates, your lecturers, they're not mind readers, okay? Please communicate with them. And in communicating, do not be hasty, right? So please don't rush to any conclusions. Do not rush at all. And there are many ways in which you can be hasty. Sometimes I will get multiple emails from students for all the right reasons. So different aspects, they ask me something, then while they're doing it, something else occurs, and that's fine. But one of the worst things I can get, because those of you who know me, I get 100, 200 emails. And nothing's worse than seeing an email from 1, 3, 4, 5 different emails from one person. And it's literally stream of thought. Good day, miss. Can you tell me? And then you have another email. Oh, and also tell me this. Oh, and then no, you already have a lot of pressure to answer 10 million emails. Try as much as possible to collect your thoughts, put them together. Remember that your lecturers are dealing with countless emails, and remember your lecturers have lives. Their wives, they're caretakers, their husbands, they're looking after children, they have to cook, they have lives. So when you are there, be mindful of this, and be mindful that they're human too. So don't bombard them with countless, innumerable emails that could easily be one email if you sat down to gather your thoughts. The other thing that can be somewhat annoying sometimes is that, and because I don't email students and expect them to respond instantaneously. So when you send an email, and I've seen it happen, you email your lecturer, they don't respond in what you consider timely fashion, and sometimes it's just okay, you email them in the morning, and in the evening you want them to respond. They've been teaching that class. Do you want them to stop teaching and just sit down and do emails only? No. Give the person up to 48 hours, even 72 hours to respond, right? Because it is needed. They have to eat, they have to teach, they have meetings. So give them some time. Respect weekends as well. I would have students send me an email Friday night, and Saturday, Sunday, they're asking me to why I haven't responded. Because, you don't pay me so that I can, for my sleeping hours too. I have a family. And when my daughter grows up, I wanted to know that, mommy's daughter was not the internet. So these things are important. So you have to communicate, but when communicating, remember these protocols. The other thing, of course, is participate. Not for yourself in your classes. I love in my classes when I see the students chatting away, chatting about things related to what I've just stated. So not for yourself in the chats, not for yourself in the tutorials, but be informed, right? Be mindful and respectful of your tone as well, because we're in the online space and we don't want the tone to go down. The other thing is, of course, to be understanding. Not because you already understand what it is that the lecturer is saying doesn't mean that somebody else may not need to understand. So different students have different needs. Be patient. Different lecturers have different needs. So one lecturer don't need to see you to deliver. Another lecturer does, right? Be mindful of that. Be helpful as you can, because we're in this together. Don't be disruptive. The other thing, of course, is that you have to develop a self-care routine. It can't be just school. It cannot be just school. It cannot be just work. It can't be, if you're not putting something back into your soul, you're going to find yourself in trouble, right? So please find a self-care routine that helps you to put something back inside. So this is really important. The fact is that we're in this together. COVID is extremely, the situation that we're in is extremely hard. It's unprecedented, but we are here together, and together we can get through this. All right, so that is the end of my presentation. I hope there were a few things that you found very useful. Yeah, and I guess I'm gonna stop sharing as well.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Plummer. Dr. Plummer is also the Associate Dean for the faculty, so there's no other person. She's fitting to talk to us about coping with online school. So I'm going to go into, we're going to ask Javier Gordon, who is the representative for the Faculty of History and Archaeology, to come and give the vote of thanks to our two speakers today.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for your attendance in the Faculty of Humanities and Education Town Hall meeting. The Guild Committee is working tirelessly to end the academic year on a high note for each student. I want to give a special thanks to Mrs. Nicole Plummer, Associate Dean in Marketing and Outreach, and Ms. Shachelle Williams, the former Karamak Society President and journalist at the Jamaica Observer. Thanks for recommending and answering questions, and it's a great pleasure to have you both today. Thank you again.
All right. All right. So these certificates will be emailed to our guest speakers, and we want to say thank you again. So we're going into the housekeeping matters. So we like to use this forum to sensitize persons on the plans that we have for this month. And now we're going to ask the EAC committee to come and tell us some of the plans that they have for us for October.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone.
I'm here.
Okay, so this semester so far has been a very successful semester for the External Affairs Committee. We have managed to launch our own mentorship program and our scholarship database that had a lot of persons become aware of scholarships, grants, etc. that they weren't aware of before. So now I'll tell you what we have in store. So currently we have launched our breast cancer awareness initiative. That is an initiative where we will be spreading awareness for breast cancer, but not only that, we want to involve you, the students, in helping us spread this awareness for breast cancer. So there are several ways you can get involved in this initiative. We have pink armbands on sale. They're only $100, and you have a wide variety of options as to how you can get these armbands. You can get it zip mailed. You can pick it up off one of or 3 locations. Those are Kingston and St. Catherine. If you don't want an armband, that's okay. You can donate, and we're accepting any amount of money for the donations. So if you feel to donate $1,000, $500, and that's it, that's also fine, and we gladly accept that. All proceeds will go to the Jamaica Cancer Society. So when you donate, or if you're considering donating, don't think of it as, oh, I feel pressure to do this for my faculty. Think of it for the cause. It is a worthy cause, and we have to help those who are still struggling with this disease. The other aspect of our initiative is where we're facilitating volunteers. Now, how can you get involved in terms of volunteering? Now, we're facilitating artwork. So you can create a poem, you can record a song, you can paint something. And what we'd actually do, we'd actually donate that to a breast cancer patient or a breast cancer survivor. However, these artwork, as we like to call it has to be motivational. So we don't want any depressing thing to let persons who are struggling with this disease feel bad. We don't want that at all. So you have certain themes that you need to do your artwork on. These include strength, courage, hope, among other things. So if you have a talent, if you have a skill, please, we implore you to use that talent. We implore you to use that skill to help us make someone feel really good during Pinktober. If you have any tips and so on that you want posted, you can reach out to the PR committee. We'll also be doing things for Male Breast Cancer Awareness Week. We're going to be having a lot of initiatives because we are having a pink out. But what I don't want is for us to be known as that faculty who just went pink. Because going pink is good, but we need to also be bringing awareness to that and doing things in a practical way to make change. So again, I implore you, and the link should be sent if it's not already being sent now, or it will be sent after. The next thing I'd like to talk to you about is our Health is Wealth event, and that will take place next week, Thursday, that's October 8th at 2:30 p.m. Now, Dr. Plummer did a really fantastic job talking about, how you can manage during the COVID-19 pandemic, especially, with our online school and so on. She did a fantastic job. But we also want to ensure that you're not just prioritizing your mental health, but also your physical health. And so we have organized an event for you where you can get insight into how we can manage our health, because really and truly, your health is your wealth. If you don't have health, you really cannot do anything. And it's really important for us to slow down, take a step back, and realize that I need to prioritize my mental and my physical health. So we're going to talk to you about how you as a student, you can meal plan or meal prep on a budget, because you understand that not all of us have a certain financial status, and we know that healthy eating or healthy living can be costly. You're going to learn how to cope, more strategies apart from what Dr. Plummer had elaborated on, more strategies as to how we can care for our mental health. We're going to be having giveaways, prizes, surprises, excitement. So I really hope to see all of you there. It's going to be really great, and you're not going to regret it, because what we say, we want you to actually adapt that to your life, because we're giving out crucial information. Last thing is, next month we'll be having a career forum, and I'm not going to give much details about that yet, but we'll be having a What Can I Do with My Humanities Degree forum, and it promises to be really exciting. A lot of you might be confused as to what you want to do with your degree, but the External Affairs Committee for the Humanities and Education, we have a lot of things planned for you to kind of lead you in the right direction in terms of your career planning and things of that nature. So again, I implore you, help out with our breast cancer initiative, attend our Health is Wealth event next week, and support our What Can I Do with My Humanities Degree event next month when you hear more about that. So thank you again. So that's all from me.
All right, thank you, Savannah. And we're going to invite the PR committee right now. Zan?
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. I really hope you all are doing fine. The PR committee for the month of October, we're not really doing any events per se, but more so engaging the audience in activities, one related to our Health is Wealth, the EAC's Health is Wealth initiative that is coming up soon, as well as breast cancer awareness. In terms of the Health is Wealth, we'll be doing the EAC will be doing certain giveaways, and we would love if the faculty members would engage with us on our various social media at UWIMONA HumidiU on both Instagram and Twitter to make yourself more able to be a part of the excitement and the buzz. I really love to see the faculty members come out. So please support that, engage with our content as it relates to that. In terms of October, with breast cancer awareness, the PR committee will be making a lot of posts, making faculty members aware of myths surrounding breast cancer as well as facts. And we'll be doing this challenge at the end of the month. The tentative date is around October 28th, where we'll be asking that faculty members engage, take a picture in a pink shirt or a picture with pink, and just post on your status to bring awareness to the cause, as well as to encourage others to donate and to support those who are suffering from this disease. That's all I really have to say as it relates to that. Thank you, and I really do hope you all have a great rest of the day.
All right, thank you, Zandra, and thank you, Savannah. And just the CACs are unfortunately unavailable. We have an event coming up called Lighter. I want all persons from the faculty to join us because we're going to have a great online party. So yeah, just watch out for the graphics for that. So we're moving into administrative matters. So most of you guys are asking if health cards will be extended. Yes, it will be. The extension is October 19 and it's available at the school. In regards to mid semesters, it normally starts around week 6, week 7. So you can check your course outlines to see when's the date of your mid semesters. Today is the final day, October 2, the final day to drop your courses, drop your courses for voluntary withdrawal and leave of absence. After today, you'll be charged $2,000 to do so. If there's a extension, I'll put out a advisory to advise persons if there's an extension. And the final assessment is on this starting December 7 to 22. So I hope I answer all your questions that were posed to me via private message. Tuition deadline. Ms. Palmer, could you help us with that? Do you know when's the tuition deadline?
This, Javan, is one of those things that I am not certain about. What I do know of is that there is the university is now, you have a monthly payment plan.
Yeah.
I'm not so au fait with it per se, but there is a monthly payment plan. I can check to see, I recall, let me just check.
All right.
So I can give you the details of that monthly payment plan.
So in the meantime, before we get that information, we're going to put out a Google Forms for persons who have concerns and queries. So each month when we come to this forum, we can focus on them and get the necessary information so we can ease some of you guys' minds and uncertainties. All right? Ms. Palmer, you're muted. Oh, all right.
Right, I'm still searching.
All right. So guys, I would just want to repeat some of the important information. Please volunteer for the FHE pin code. There are UMed scholarship links. You can also look out for that. You have the academic support unit. The numbers are in the chat, so please copy it, and also the UA Helps unit. So there are lots of things out there to help you guys. So make use of them. You can donate and buy armbands, take pictures and celebrate with us so we can bring the sensitization of breast cancer throughout the whole Jamaica and play our part.
All right, so I'm looking at something. I didn't get a copy of this. This was actually shared with me by coincidence. But I think there was a notice that was given by our campus registrar, and they have the miscellaneous for semester 1 is semester 1 to pay the fees. There is, as for the details of the monthly payment plan, I'm unable to locate that, but it is there somewhere. But you can check your previous emails, all right? I don't want to speak out of turn and lead you down the wrong path.
All right, no problem. So, guys, check your emails and thank you for coming out. Thank you again, Dr. Plummer. Thank you, Sasha, for joining our first ever monthly town hall. And we'll be having it each month. Please follow us on our social media pages at UMEDU, that's HUMEDU, and follow us on Twitter at UMONA_UMEDU as well. I'm your faculty rep. You can reach out to me at umedrep@gmail.com. And feel free to we're in WhatsApp and we're talking to you, so you can jump in our PMs and we'll help you as much as possible. Thank you for coming out.